Hi, I'm Tammy Lynn Guns, the Respect Doctor. And actually what I want to talk to you today is about the concept of respect. So let me tell you a very personal story. About 6 years ago, my mother was diagnosed with cancer. And unfortunately, about 6 months after she was diagnosed, she actually passed away. My entire family lives back in Wisconsin, and I live in Colorado. And just before my mother died, my dad called me and he said, "Please, Tammy, you need to get home on the next plane." And so I did. Now, I have to tell you that I feel very grateful that I spent the last 3 days of my mother's life literally in bed with her. I was able to really talk to my mom. I was able to tell my mom how thankful I was that she was my mother. We talked about a lot of different memories that we had. I really was taking those 3 days to really soak my mother in, knowing that she was going to pass away. I also remember rubbing her hands a lot because I wanted to remember how soft her skin was. My mom and I listened to Yanni music while she was laying in bed, and I remember combing her hair. My mom was very special to me, and I was saying goodbye to her. My mom actually did pass away 3 days after I got to Wisconsin. And at 5:40 a.m. in the morning, on Monday, June 15th, is when she finally left the earth. What I needed to do is I had to get back on a plane and get back to Colorado because I needed to pick up my children. I needed to pick up my children so that I could bring them back for my mom's memorial service. And so I did. I was calling. I was frantically calling, trying to get on the next plane home. And I was able to get a plane ticket on a Frontier airline that was going back to Colorado. So I was literally running through the airport. My oldest brother, Bill, dropped me off curbside. All I had was my purse, my stuff I was leaving at my parents' house. And so I was running, literally as they're closing the door to the plane. And I was trying to then find my seat. So I was going down the aisle of this airplane and I located where I was supposed to be sitting, and I had a window seat. And there was 2 women that were already sitting down. There was a woman in the aisle seat, and then there was a woman right next to her, and she was in the middle seat. The woman in the aisle seat was incredibly bothered when I asked her if I could go sit by the window. She actually stood up and went, "Oh." And then I kind of looked at her and I went and sat down in my seat. Now, pretty much through the whole plane ride, I was really numb. I had just said goodbye to my mother. I wasn't crying. I was literally just looking out the window, thinking about my mom and thinking about how she had just passed away. And about midway through the flight, I had to get up and go use the restroom because I had drank a couple of Diet Cokes while I was on the flight. And so once again, I had to ask these women if I could get up and use the restroom. Now this time, the woman that was in the aisle seat was even more upset that how dare I bother her to get up. So she did this again. And when she did that, now for the second time, I paused for a moment and I was ready to lay into this woman. I was ready to say to her, "Listen, if you want to compare who's having a worse bad day, I promise you I'm going to win." But instead, I actually said nothing. I actually just went and used the restroom, and then I returned to my seat. But what I thought about was, why should I have to tell that woman? Why should I have to say to her, "You know what, my mom just passed away literally hours before I boarded this airplane. So could you please be nice to me?" But then I thought, well, what about everybody that we meet in public, whether we meet them on the elevator or the streets or an airplane or a bus or a train or in an office building? Wherever we meet people, we have no idea where they are. We have no idea if they're in a good place. We have no idea if they're in a bad place. And I don't think people should have to go around wearing a sign that says, "You know what, today I found out that I have a child with cancer. Do you think you could be nice to me?" Or, "Today I found out that I just lost my job. Could you be nice to me?" Or any other iteration. "Today I found out my spouse was cheating on me. Could you please be nice to me?" We shouldn't have to wear signs. We are people, and we should respect each other just because we are fellow human beings. So, of course, I remember the day that my mother died because I love my mom. But I also remember the day that my mother died because of the incident on the airplane. And I promise you, what I do now is whenever I'm on an elevator, I hold it for the next person to come on. When I'm walking down a sidewalk, I say hi to people. I smile at people. I try to engage others in a very positive way because I have no idea whether they just won the lottery or whether something really tragic just happened in their life. But I know because they're a fellow human being, I'm going to treat them with respect because they deserve that. Remember always that you are worthy, you are lovable, and you deserve goodness in your life.